Hello, everybody. It's good to have you with us. Thank you for joining us. I'm Wyatt Sharp. We are just days away from the August 1st deadline between the United States and Canada when a major new round of U.S. tariffs toward Canada is set to take effect. Of course, that's assuming that no deal is reached. The measures would target key imports like steel, aluminum, autos, and copper, and they're already raising alarms about rising costs, supply chain pressure, and the potential for renewed trade tensions. With inflation still top of mind for many Americans, the political and economic fallout of these tariffs could be significant. And joining me now to discuss it all is Democratic Congresswoman Val Hoyle of Oregon. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you very much, Wyatt. I appreciate you speaking with you today.
Of course. Let's perhaps just kind of start out. Many Democrats have voiced concern that these tariffs could, of course, worsen inflation, add to a number of the supply chain hurdles that, of course, were, first started over the course of the pandemic and really have just been kind of heightened over the course of these tariffs as well. In your view, how significant is kind of the economic risk, if you will, to American families if these tariffs move forward?
So the economic risk is far-reaching. So I represent the central and south coast of Oregon, and we are an export-dependent state. So whether it's manufacturing or natural resources or agriculture, and Canada is it's like one of our largest trading partners. We have already felt the effects. I had a small business that had a container on the water when 145% tariff from China came in. It landed. She had to pay that, so over double the cost she anticipated, where she had already sold the product, so couldn't raise the prices.
Hmm.
And we make a lot of really wonderful wine in the Willamette Valley, where I represent, and 40% of our international sales go to Canada. Those sales stopped overnight as retaliation happened, and Canadians, in response, took American products off the shelves. So there are far-reaching consequences. And the best comment I've ever heard describing tariffs is by Catherine Tai, former U.S. trade rep. She said, tariffs are like 2x4s. You can either use them to build something, or you can beat someone over the head with them. And these erratic, inconsistent, tariffs and the way that they're being put together are devastating for everyone. You lose a customer, an international customer, it's really hard to get them back. So this will have far-reaching and long-lasting consequences.
If you talk to people in the Trump administration, they say that they're doing this because Canada has took advantage of them for too long. And it's not just Canada, right? I mean, if you look to other countries as well, they've been trying to reach new trade agreements with a bunch of other countries. The Philippines is perhaps the most recent example here. What would be your response to that argument coming from the Trump administration, again, that they're just doing this because they feel as if America has been taken advantage of?
So I think taking a step back, I have my background's in international trade, worked in the bicycle industry, worked a lot with Canada and many other countries. But I was an opponent of free trade agreements, of NAFTA, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and there are a lot of hard feelings, especially in the Midwest, in the Rust Belt, where trade agreements undermined American jobs and gave an incentive to send manufacturing offshore. So a lot of working class Americans really would like to see tariffs that go into place that prioritize American jobs. So I think tariffs are a tool. I think that starting with Clinton, we made some really bad choices that hurt Americans. However, what is happening now is it seems like these trade agreements are being made inconsistently, and it's all about the public win, whereas sometimes it really isn't making much of a difference, like the initial trade agreements with Mexico and Canada. It was more about a headline to make President Trump feel better as opposed to actually doing something. So fundamentally, if they were approaching this in a strategic way, right, saying on steel, on timber, on this or that, we need to even things out, and there were real discussions, I'd agree with them. But that's not what's happening. There's just this, whipsaw effect of there's tariffs, there's not tariffs. Somebody said something that hurt Donald Trump's feelings. There's more tariffs. And this inconsistency is dangerous for the market. It's hurting American manufacturers. It's killing American jobs.
Mhm.
And again, whether it's immigration or, putting tourists in internment camps, people
Yeah.
aren't coming here, and it's hurting our economy. And again, Canada's an ally, and we should treat them as such.